everybody, this is Sarahscopic and you're watching Traffic Musings. I apologize for the clickbait title, everyone, but you gotta get some way to get views up, and I mean, what better way than to tell people that I got pregnant twice? Just to let you know that's not true. Well, okay, not in the sense you're thinking of. This is actually to talk more about tabletop, because in tabletop I have had two characters who have gotten pregnant because I don't know what happened. Don't ask me specifics, man. Go talk to your mom and dad about that stuff. That's not what I'm here for. To be fair, the reason that these two characters of mine became pregnant was that it was on purpose for the story. There was consent for it. We all knew it was going to happen. It wasn't really a surprise. Basically, in two different kinds of settings where family lines were important, this happened. The first time this happened was in one of my all-time favorite tabletop games, Legend of the Five Rings, or L5R as I will call it. L5R, for those who don't know, is a tabletop game that was based on a card game of the same name and same kind of area and stuff like that, and same setting. And that is a kind of a fictional story, land, setting, etc., based around Miyamoto Musashi's Book of the Five Rings. Now, Musashi's Book of the Five Rings is Musashi's Book of the Five Rings is not a fictional story. It's a handbook basically for samurai or learning to use the sword. But some people made kind of they kind of took those ideas of the five rings, kind of like the five elements, and expanded upon them and made it kind of a world for them and stuff like that. L5R is just great. I love everything about it. I love the system. It's super simple and easy, yet lots of good nuances. I adore the setting, and it's one of my all-time favorites. It's pretty much the second tabletop game I had ever played besides D&D, and I still love it to death. I played lots of different campaigns in L5R. I probably have played it most of any other tabletop I've ever played in, and in this particular setting, I was basically a ninja. They call him Shinobi, and the other two people I was playing with were siblings in the game. One of them was also my brother in real life. A mutual friend was GMing, and we had another family friend that was playing with us. But the three of us, and character-wise, were all related. I had a twin brother, which was the family friend, and my real brother was our older brother. So I was the Shinobi character, the ninja character, super sneaky type. My twin brother was basically the knight of the group, the swordsman. It gets complicated when you find out the kind of swordsman he was. His whole thing is he was super dumb and lucky, but that's it. I'm not going to get into the L5R setting. Look it up. It's cool. My brother was the courtier of the group, but also it's called Shugenja, but it's basically the wizard of the group. So he was both kind of the person who was able to talk very well and dealt with the courts and all the political stuff, but also did a lot of magic. I was the sneaky, and we had kind of our fighter character. And we were a family unit. We're part of a family, because since this is kind of like pseudo-Japan, there are different families and stuff like that. And we were kind of part of the Scorpion family, which means we were all about deception and political maneuvering and, you know, killing people and stuff like that. So that was kind of our campaign. And it was a really fun idea, you know, to kind of play as like a very close-knit family and such like that. Well, my brother, my real brother, has this problem where whenever we play any of these games where family lines are important, he all of a sudden becomes matchmaker. It's the weirdest thing. And I'm talking like matchmaking with fictional characters, NPCs. So our older brother character, who also happened to be my actual brother in real life, was already married. And that's what he always tells us. He would say, you know, if you don't want to get married off, you should have your characters already married. I'm not going to explain why. After the first time I played F5R, I refused to be already married to someone, but that's a different story. So our older brother insisted that my twin brother and I get married because we needed to keep the family line strong, even though I was quite honestly a super short mute character. Actually, my tongue had been cut off as part of my backstory, and my twin brother was big, brutish, and not very bright, but very lucky. But he wants to marry us off anyway, so he did to these NPCs for political favors. And so the GM, we talked about it, and the GM said, "Okay, Sarah, your character is pregnant. congratulations. How we know? You woke up with morning sickness. That's about all they figured. Sorry, this story makes me laugh every time because it's so ridiculous. Thankfully, our GM wasn't gonna put like any real restrictions on the fact I was pregnant. In real life, if I was carrying to full term, I probably wouldn't be able to do half the stuff I was doing in the game, but we didn't find that very fun. We just went along with it and just didn't pay much attention, but he just told us that at some point, the baby was gonna come, and we were gonna have to deal with that. So here I am, being the shinobi sneaky character while pregnant and also mute, being a total just BA person. And we're fighting in this other land, this other fictional land that's different from the land that, anyway. We're in this other place, and we're on a high tower, and we're fighting this major bad guy, and we're doing, you know, everything that we can. And at one point, we're at this top of this tower. We're done. We finally killed the bad guy. We need to get down because the place is probably gonna blow. I don't know if it was actually gonna blow. I think it was about to collapse. Doesn't really matter. In any case, all of a sudden the GM tells me that, Sarah, your character feels kind of wet down there. And both my fictional brothers were looking at me very strangely, not understanding what was going on, and I looked at them, and of course I'm mute, and so I'm signing to them in character that I need to get down the tower right now. And they look at me like, what's going on? What's going on? I'm like, I need to get the tower right now. And they still don't get it, and I finally just shout out of character, my water broke! Which is hopefully the only time in at least a while that I will ever have to shout that at anybody. So we get me down on some mythical air dragon that I think my older brother conjured. The baby came out safely, everything was fine, and I probably left the baby at home with my husband because in Rokugan, which is the name of the country in Japan, it's okay for the men to be homemakers. So that's because I was the adventurer, so he had to stay home to raise the baby. That was the first time I gotten pregnant in the game, and it ended up okay. The second time was in a game that also did make sense to have a character who wouldn't have to be pregnant. It was in a tabletop A Song of Ice and Fire game, or colloquially, Game of Thrones, the tabletop version. In that game, family lines is also very, very important, as you can imagine. So we were playing a game where we had made up our own house, and we had banner houses and stuff like that. And I was the last lady of a banner house that I had created. My father had been murdered, and something happened to my brother. I was the last remaining, like, head and the lady of this house. So part of my story was I needed to find a husband real quick because otherwise my family was gonna die. Eventually, I did manage to find my way to marry, it was actually into the Stark family, funny enough, because our house was based in like near Winterfell. So our house was basically a banner house for the Starks. We just happened to get very huge because Song of Ice and Fire tabletop, the way they do family systems, is really cool, but kind of doesn't make a lot of sense. But that's okay. I managed to get one of the like third or second sons of the Starks to marry me and join my name. So that when the baby was born, he would be of my name and not of the Stark family. My character finally does that, gets married, all set. I get told that I'm pregnant. Cool. This is the news that my character has been waiting for, just to finally have a baby and be done with it. This character of mine was actually more of a political person. She was the major courtier of the group, and so I didn't really need to fight a lot. That wasn't my objective, so I really wasn't that great at fighting. I had some knife skills, but that was about it. Thank you! Gotcha! My character's going around and just kind of talking to people while being pregnant, so nothing super stressful. Well, at one point, I am on a ship for some reason, and I think it's just me and another character, and we're traveling somewhere, but I think I am the highest status among everyone else on the ship. And at one point, I am told that there is that someone attacks me while I'm sleeping. And I don't die. I thankfully was able to roll high enough to dodge it, but I did get stabbed, basically. And so I was able to heal, but I didn't feel very good. And I forget what I had to do. I had to give up something. All I knew is there was a poison. And there's something mechanically I kind of had to give up in order to be okay. And well, I was told that either I'd have to give up something or else I might have to face a consequence. And I was smart enough kind of metagaming to know what that consequence likely was, and so I remembered mechanically I gave up something. I think it was being able, basically I had a permanent debuff to one of the traits basically, and I was told that my baby was fine, but if I hadn't done that, I would have had a miscarriage, because poison's not good for growing babies. You know, news flash in case you guys didn't know that. So that was the day that I gave up my ability to basically, so that was the day that I had given up my ability to, and that was the day I had given up my ability, ah! I get it! Enter tunnels! I got it! That was the day that I had given up my ability to be maneuverable with my hands for like pickpocketing and stuff in order to save a baby. And in case you guys were worried, the baby came out fine. I had the baby and my family was saved. My husband died, but I had given the choice to basically kill my husband for a dragon, and okay, that's not true. I didn't actually kill my husband. It was more of a out-of-game thing of like, you will have to give up your husband in order to have a dragon kind of thing, and so he had died, but it wasn't like my character's fault. He just happened to die, and I was totally okay with that, because who wouldn't want a dragon? That's a whole nother story. I have a lot of these stories, and we're already out of time, so that's all I'm going to say on the matter. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. I hope something amazing happens to you, and without further ado, I hope to see you all in the next episode. Bye!